The clock on the sterile white wall of the pre-op holding area didn't tick, it pulsed. It was a digital glow, a relentless neon reminder that my time as a whole man was measured in double digits. They had already given me the initial sedative, that creeping, liquid courage that makes the edges of the world go soft and blurry, but my mind was sharper than the surgeon's scalpel. I lay there, draped in a thin paper gown that offered no protection against the chilling reality of a failing heart. My lawyer, a man named Henderson who smelled of expensive peppermint and old leather, sat on a cramped plastic chair beside my gurney. He looked uncomfortable, holding a briefcase like a shield. "Are you sure about this, Arthur?" he whispered, his voice hushed to respect the hospital's manufactured silence. "We finalized the estate plan 3 months ago. Your children, the foundations, everything is set." I looked at him, and for the first time in my 74 years, I didn't see a client-attorney privilege. I saw a man guarding a tomb. "The foundations can wait," I told him, my voice raspy from the fast. "Give me the pen, Henderson. I have 5 minutes, and I have spent 70 years being a fool." I had spent my life building a fortress of logic and a mountain of wealth. I was the man who never missed a board meeting, the man who knew the price of every stock but the value of none. In my original will, the one resting safely in a mahogany desk downtown, I had divided my life into cold percentages: 30% to the university, 20% to the medical research wing that would surely name me a hallway after, 25% each to my 2 children, Julian and Claire, whom I had raised to be as efficient and hollow as high-rise office buildings. It was a perfect document. It was a masterpiece of equity. And as the nurse checked my vitals one last time, I realized it was a suicide note for my soul. I remembered a Tuesday in 1988. It was raining, much like it was today, but I was too busy checking the ticker tape to notice the color of the sky. Martha had come into my study holding a handful of wet lupines from the garden. She wanted to talk about the summer, about taking a month off to drive across the coast. I didn't even look up. I told her that a month of idleness was a month of decay. I told her the business was at a critical juncture. I told her we would go next year. Martha didn't argue. She never did. She just put the flowers in a glass of water and walked out, leaving the scent of damp earth and crushed petals behind. There was no next year for the coast. Cancer doesn't care about critical junctures in business. She was gone in 18 months, and I buried her with the most expensive funeral money could buy. I thought the gold-leafed casket and the marble headstone were tributes. Now, with the smell of antiseptic burning my nostrils, I knew they were just more walls I built to hide the guilt. "Arthur, the orderlies are coming," Henderson said, his pen hovering over a fresh sheet of legal pad. "What exactly are we changing?" I closed my eyes and saw the north field of the Vermont farm. I saw the wildflowers she'd dreamed of, the ones I had let wither because I wouldn't pay for the irrigation. I saw the face of a young man named Elias. Elias was the grandson of the man who used to fix my fences. He was a poet, a dreamer, a boy who worked in the local library and spent his weekends restoring old hiking trails. When Julian and Claire moved to the city, Elias was the one who checked on me during the blizzards. He didn't want my money. He once spent 4 hours helping me find a lost set of keys in the snow, refusing even a $20 bill for his trouble. He had said, "Neighbors don't charge for kindness, Mr. Sterling." I opened my eyes and looked at the ceiling tiles. "Write this down," I said, my heart monitor beginning to beep a bit faster. "Everything, every cent, every property, the house in the city, the farm in Vermont, the offshore accounts." Henderson's eyes went wide. To Julian and Claire? No, I whispered, to Elias Thorne, with one condition. The earth seemed to grow colder, but my blood felt like it was finally beginning to thaw. The condition is that he must never sell the farm. He must plant the north field, every inch of it. And your children? Henderson stammered. They'll contest it. They'll say you were under the influence of the medication. I felt the gurney jolt as the orderlies arrived. I grabbed Henderson's sleeve with a strength that surprised us both. Let them contest it. Let them spend the rest of their lives fighting over the ghost of a father they never really knew. But why him? Why the fence builder's grandson? I smiled, and it felt like my face was cracking after decades of being a mask. Because he is the only one who knows that the most important things in life are the ones that can't be counted. Because he once told me that the oak tree finds water in the dark, and I finally believe him. I signed the paper with a hand that didn't tremble. The ink was black and bold, a final defiance against a life spent in the gray. The orderlies began to wheel me down the long, echoing corridor. The lights passed over me like flashes of a life I was leaving behind. I thought of Julian, who would be furious, and Claire, who would be disappointed. I hoped the disappointment would make her feel something, anything other than the cold ambition I had poisoned her with. Perhaps losing the money would be the only way they could finally find themselves. As the double doors to the operating room swang open, the frozen time of the attic and the cold ledger of the office faded away. I smelled the lupines again. I saw Martha standing in a field of blue and gold, her blue dress catching a wind that didn't blow in this hospital. She wasn't waiting for a man with a bank account. She was waiting for the man who finally understood the seeds. 5 minutes, I whispered to the anesthesiologist as the mask lowered over my face. It took me 70 years to find 5 minutes of truth. Count backward from 10, the doctor said. 10. I am not the money. 9. I am not the house. 8. I am not the bitterness. 7. The seeds are in the ground. 6. The north field is waiting. 5. The ledger is closed. 4. The garden is open. 3. I love you, Martha. 2. I am. 1. Home.